What up, Ralph leaders? Welcome back to my channel. We are on a trek to cover by foot the East Coast Bypass Road. Just wanted to show you the state of development of this East Coast Bypass Road as we go from Eccles, the Eccles interchange to guys booking it as we go from Eccles interchange to Ogle. There he is. It's another car. Some of the first cars to take advantage of this East Coast Bypass Road. Trying to get to Ogle, I believe. Get from Ogle to the East Bank, Eccles, using this bypass road before it's been completed now. Basically getting a jump on the use of this road. But yes guys, this is a road that's being built. You can go to Google Maps and probably see the map of the route. It's going to connect the East Coast to the East Bank, East Coast at Ogle Airport Road, and the community at the head of the Ogle, that junction is probably one of the oldest communities on the East Coast. It's Currituck Park, and at the western end of this interchange, it's the Eccles Peters Hall interchange at Heroes Highway, that was previously called the East Bank Bypass Road. And this is going to cut the commute time from the East Coast to the East Bank into a fraction of what it normally takes. It probably takes about half an hour, maybe more, to get from the junction at the beginning of this road to the East Bank. Probably takes about an hour or half an hour, and now it will be reduced to minutes. Once this road is completed, it will probably take about 10 minutes. So now the car utilizing the road, East Coast Bypass Road, before it's completed. Still rough, the road is still in a rough state because the final surface hasn't been installed. And ahead of us we can already see the planes landing at Ogle. So we know that about a mile and a half, 2 miles ahead of us is Ogle Airport. So that's 3, probably 4, 25, 6, so between 6 and 7 miles of road between the junction at the East Coast and the junction at Eccles. It's about 7 miles of road, but we'll be able to measure that distance with GPS soon. What we're doing though is showing you what is happening in this neck of the woods, and for me it's my curiosity because I'm interested in land for building high-rise condominium complexes, and I'm always looking for areas that are new or accessible now to development because of these roads, as I advise to people who want to build hotels. And Guyana still needs a lot more hotels. You want to find where the government is building roads, new roads, and then build your hotel. Find land along the route and build your hotel there. So this would be a good place to put several more international hotels. You know, if you want to bring in some intercontinental or Shangri-La, some of the famous brands, international brands, or if you want to build some independent boutique hotels, this is where you would build them, because now that this road is being completed, you're going to find it creates access to this land. In the distance, that's Ogle Airport. Trucks coming in with more materials for construction. And all of this land used to be Gaisiko's sugar plantation, sugar cane fields. Well, that's a truck carrying construction material to the site. What prevented me in the past from trying to cover this land, to cover this route, not only was it inaccessible because they hadn't built the culverts and the bridges yet, but even after they completed that, it's the clouds of dust that I would see along the road here, basically being whipped up by trucks and now cars traveling along the road. So these cars are now using this new route. There's a guy on a motorcycle. He's also taking advantage of this new route. It's going to become quite popular because there's a lot of traffic from the East Coast heading to the East Bank that would prefer to avoid going through Georgetown and avoid the traffic congestion on the streets of the city. So this is what's happening here. It's about 7, maybe 7:30 on a Thursday morning in Guyana, here on the East Coast, and we're about a mile or so away from Ogle. This is a bridge connecting the two lanes, the eastbound and the northbound and the southbound lane, so I guess this would be the turnaround point where you can make a U-turn, which is important when you're building these interchanges, because if you drive in interstate highways, understand why you need turnaround lanes and connecting bridges so that you can make a U-turn. But here we are at East Coast Bypass Road in Ogle. We're about a mile, maybe 2 miles away from the airport. We've covered 3, maybe 3.5 miles into this trek. It's about a 7-mile trek from end to end, from the East Coast entrance to the East Bank exit. It's about 7 miles, and we're at a halfway point, I suppose. All of this land east of us, right, that's eastern direction, all that land is now accessible for development. And this western side, you can see there's also a lot of land, but the land between the highway, this is where we are right now, and city of Georgetown by South Lambert Gardens. It's probably a lot less land, but still a significant amount of land available for various kinds of development that will probably take place rapidly now that this
distance 7 miles, duration 2 hours 24 minutes 17 seconds, pace 20 minutes 42 seconds per mile.
Okay, let's pick up the pace here because this pace is probably going to take us a couple of hours to get through this walk. But here we are at the East Coast Bypass Road in Ogle. We're about a mile away from the Ogle Airport, and what we can see here is the state of construction of the road. As you can see, both surfaces, the northbound and the southbound surface, have been constructed, although the final version, that is the completed version, which is either going to be concrete or asphalt, is yet to be finished. You can see the drains at the side. Those drains also have to be completed, covered with concrete and so on. And the shoulder of the road seems to be pretty wide at this point. Also has to be completed. The center divide, right, between the two roads, the northbound and the southbound, that also has to be completed. And the road curbs have to be built on both sides to keep vehicles from running off the road. So this is what is happening here. We're about halfway to the east bank now. So to the east coast, we're halfway between the east bank and the east coast. We've already turned north. The road runs east-west for about 2 miles away from the Eccles interchange, and then it runs north-south. Straight to the East Coast Highway at this point for about, I don't know, 5 miles maybe. You can see now a crane in the distance. That crane, I don't know if you can see it in this video, but there's a crane which marks the point at which the Marriott, AC Marriott at Ogle is being built. So now we can see that point, and it seems as if it's about 20 to 30 minutes away if we walking at this pace. Here are workers going in now. So workers going in to start working on the road. At this point, so this is how much of the road that has been completed. It seems as if the connections have been made, right? All of the major connections have been made because those vehicles would not be able to drive if they hadn't covered the various canals with bridges, culverts and bridges. So that's the major development here that's been completed. And at various points, the shoulder of the road has also been built up, which is where I'm walking right now. I'm walking on the shoulder of the north side, so the east side of the northbound lane, or southbound lane. We drive on the left hand side of the road, so this would be the southbound lane, lanes of the East Coast Bypass Road. But yeah, it is actually quite imaginable now that this could be completed in another, I don't know, 6 months, based on how far they've come and based on how much I've followed this development for the last, what, year, 2 years. You can see that in the archives, the videos I've made in the past. So I would say sometime in 2025, this road should be completed and ready to open. And it would be would have a huge impact on the traffic from East Coast to East Bank. However, like I said, because of induced demand, it won't be very long before this road becomes congested too, because that is how road construction works. The more roads you build, the more traffic congestion you get. And the only way to solve that problem is to build alternative means of transportation. That means you have to build new bridges, new trains. All right, you have to build freight trains and passenger trains, high-speed rail and so on, to get people off the road, to give people a better alternative to driving. And of course you need to build airports and ferries, right? Because if you can get from Georgetown to Essequibo by ferry, Georgetown to Bartica by ferry, in a nice, comfortable, smooth, safe, fast ferry, you probably wouldn't take the road or the train. if you can fly to Lethem from Ogo, you know, in a comfortable regional jet, you probably wouldn't take the road. You wouldn't bother to drive if you're simply trying to get there by person, in person. So that's why transportation development has to be more than just building roads. You have to build all of the other means of transportation at the same time. You need to build airports, ferry terminals, trains, train lines, and so on, in addition to roads. Some people still find that hard to understand and to believe, and some people, there's no way you can convince them until they see it, that it's possible. People are saying, oh, this is impossible. You just have to ignore those people, because that is what principle that we've already learned. We've already learned how these things work, right? That's how the principle works. But that's what's up, guys. That's what's happening in this neck of the woods. I'm going to continue once we get to the new hospital. I'm going to show you that neck of the woods. But in order to save space on my storage, I'm going to shorten these videos and give you clips along the way. But we're on our way to Ogo, now on the East Coast Bypass Road. And all of this land has become open up for development because of the construction of this road. And that is the theme of this video. If you want to see more content like this, click like and subscribe. Share this video with friends and family around the world. Let people know what's happening in the fastest growing economy in the world, Guyana. Later!